Hi, I'm Kathy Quinn with Floriani. Floriani is a division of R&K Distributing, and I want to welcome you to this month's Project of the Month. This month we're going to create a monogrammed towel, only we're going to use negative space to create our monogram. So the monogram will be created by cutting out space inside a fill. Let's get started. I want you to come up and I want you to put your mouse cursor on your Floriani icon and double left mouse click to open our Floriani software. As our software opens, the first thing that we are going to see when it opens up is our My Floriani Today screen. This screen always has valuable information on it. It always tells us the latest version that's available for download, but never automatically click on that. Before you ever download a new version, always check and see which version you're running in case you already have the latest version. We can go to how to download videos, our Floriani support, our online manuals, our product registration, lessons from the masters where we can go watch Walter create and teach us how to work in our software, our facts, our stabilizers, and threads. Now all this information will be available to you if you are connected to the internet. If you are not connected, you can still use your software. That's not a problem. But you will have a screen that comes up that tells you you're not connected to the internet. Down at the bottom we have Create a New Design, which is self-explanatory. Open a design. Now I want to explain, whenever you want to open a design into your software, you can open a design from anywhere in your computer or any peripheral you have connected, such as a jump drive, an external hard drive, a CD-ROM, or even a floppy. So you can bring a design in from anywhere that you have designs stored that is connected to your computer. Open recently used is one of my favorite features, as a lot of times I'm working on a design late at night or I'll get interrupted and I'll close down the software, and when I get back to it I don't exactly remember where I left that design. So by clicking Open Recently Used, it will bring up the last design that I was working on, saved with the settings that I last left it. What's new and help? We are going to start by creating a new design, so left mouse click on that icon. We're now going to set up our workspace. If you have been following the projects of the month, you'll know that I always set up my workspace, and that is this area that we're looking at, to always work for me when I'm going to create a design or work within the software. Today we're doing the towel, so what I want to do is I want to, number one, I've got to decide whether I'm going to work in metric or inches. Well, I'm going to work in inches today, so I'm going to go up on my ruler bar, and it doesn't matter where on your ruler bar you choose to click, but you'll right mouse click on the ruler bar. I want to make sure I have inches selected. I do want to show my grid, and I want to left mouse click on grid settings because I want a 1-inch grid today. So I am going to type in 1 point, and you notice that my vertical is going to go ahead and set itself because I have my Maintain Aspect Ratio button selected. So I'm going to have a 1-inch grid both vertically and horizontally. I will say OK, and my grid system is set up. We're going to work a lot today with some artwork and learn how to use our artwork tool in several different ways. We're going to learn about our new combine feature as well. I want you to go up to the top of your screen on the right hand section of your top toolbar, and you're going to see your artwork tool. There's a little drop down arrow next to it. I want you to left mouse click on that. You're going to come down and select your rectangle by left mouse clicking. I'm also going to do something today. As soon as I selected that, I want you to notice your properties box came up for artwork. Now all I can do to the artwork at this point is either do a line as if I drew it with a thin pencil, or I can make it a fill. Today we're going to do a fill. So I want you to left mouse click on the fill button. I want you to apply that, and now I want you to just by holding down your left mouse key and dragging, I want you to create a box on your screen, and I don't care about the size. When you get it to a fairly decent size, let go of your left mouse button, and you notice you have created a solid square. Now this is not stitches, this is just artwork. It's like we drew it on the screen. We're going to come over and select this by left mouse clicking on our select tool on the upper left hand side of our toolbar. You'll notice it's selected because it has all of its little buttons around it. So now that I've got that on screen, I will go ahead and leave it as such, and now I will come over here and you notice I have a new tab called Transform. I'm going to left mouse click on it, and with my box selected I need to change the width and the height. I want this box to be 6 inches by 6 inches. So I'm going to backspace in my width box and type in 6. I want to change my height and I don't want it to keep proportion right now, so I'm going to deselect down. You're going to notice here's my height, and I'm going to deselect my maintain aspect ratio. I'm going to go ahead and change my height box to 6 inches as well. You will now apply that and you will have a 6-inch square on your screen. I want you to go to your view button on the top toolbar, drop it down and left mouse click on the fit to fit. So now we see we have a 6-inch square on our screen. I want you to notice on my screen, here is the center of my artwork box. And whenever I get my little hand next to it, it grabs it. It turns into a hand. It's no longer a cursor. Now over here is the center of my screen. I am going to put my cursor over the little square, holding down my left mouse button. I'm going to go ahead and center that on my screen. And again, I will fit to screen by dropping down my view, and it will center it in front of me so I can see that very clearly. Now that I have that done, I want you to deselect the box by moving your cursor off of it and left mouse clicking anywhere outside the box, and you notice it is now deselected. I want you now to come up and select your artwork tool again. We again want rectangle. I am going to come down to my bottom toolbar and I'm going to right mouse click on the color number 3, so I have green applied, and I am going to draw another box. Again, I don't care about the size. Now I want you to notice that this box is green, so it's on top. We can see it very clearly. Get your select tool by left mouse clicking on your select tool, and again this box has been selected and it is now, we can now work with it. Again, I'm going to grab its little center and center it, and I'm going to come up here again to the transform. Now this box I want to be 5 inches, so I'm going to backspace and I'm going to type in 5. I'm going to type in 5 on my height as well, and I am going to apply that. So now I have a 6-inch square with a 5-inch square sitting on top of it. I can now actually select both squares by holding down my control key and go ahead and selecting the blue square as well. If I right mouse click, I can tell that to align centers, so I know that it's centered beautifully. And now I'm going to right mouse click on it again, and I am going to select the word combine. Left mouse click, and what it's going to do is it is going to combine. It's going to cut out the inside of that square. Now that we've done this, I want you to again go to your artwork tool, and we are going to select our rectangle again. We are going to make sure the fill box is selected, and we're going to draw a square on our screen. Doesn't matter where it falls. I am going to again select it. I will center it. Now I can use my align tool, or I could just pull it up, and we will use our align tool to make sure everything is lined up before we turn this into stitches. I am going to again go to transform, And now this square is going to be 4 inches. So 4 inches square. Again, apply. Now while you've got that selected, hold your control key down. Select your outside your blue square as well. Right mouse click, and I want you to align center by left mouse clicking on the word center. So we know that that is lined up. So I have blue, a 1 inch blue border. I have 1 inch of negative space, and I have a 4 inch block. Whoops. Let's go ahead and tell it to fit to screen. You ever lose it? Tell it to fit to screen. Now we're going to import a Truetype font. Now remember, we're still dealing with artwork. When we import a Truetype font, until we tell it to become stitches, it's nothing but a piece of artwork. So I want you to come up to your top toolbar to your file. Left mouse click on the word file, and I want you to come down and left mouse click on Import Truetype Text, TT Text. You're going to get a little import text box up. Now my last name is Quinn, so I'm going to select, and in this top box I'm going to put a capital Q. Decide what letter you want on your towel. Then where it says Font Arial, there is 3 little buttons next to it. I am going to left mouse click on that, and I am going to actually, we're going to go up. So I want you to scroll up by putting your cursor on the up arrow and scrolling up. And I want to go up where it's Truetype, TT, we're not using the zeros or the O's, we're using Truetype, at DFP Gothic. I want you to left mouse click and select that. I want you to now make sure it is bold, left mouse click on the word bold, and I want you to come down here and select 72 points. That's your font size. Now that that is done, I want you to say OK. OK again. Now you're going to get a little bitty box here because this is only 72 high and we're in a 4 inch space. So we're going to leave it as is. You're not going to do anything but come straight over to transform. And I am going to transform this. Let's go to 1 inch. We're just going to make it 1 inch high right now, and I'm going to apply that. Now I can actually see the letter a little better. And again, I like to kind of move it down. It just makes me more comfortable. And we're going to select fill. We're going to apply the fill. So now it's a solid piece of artwork. And let's go back to transform. And I actually want this to be height. Now I want to maintain the aspect ratio when I change this because I don't want to skew this letter. So I am going to change the height to 2.25 inches. Apply. So now my Q fits very nice in there. But what I really want is I am going to stitch this into a diamond. So I am going to deselect my Q. I am going to select my blue border. I'm going to select my green, and I'm going to come to transform, and I'm going to tell it under rotate to rotate this by 45%. So I want you to notice, by 45 degrees. So now I have actually put this on the diagonal. My Q looks good. It's like I want to put it on my towel. And now I'm going to deselect it. I'm going to select my Q, hold my control button, and select my green. And now I'm going to right mouse click. And again, we are going to combine. You notice it chopped out that piece of artwork. So what we're going to actually do here is we're going to turn the blue into stitches and the green into stitches. This will stitch our towel down where we have the nap on our towel standing up. This is going to stitch it down, and we're going to have fluffy towel coming out here and fluffy towel coming out here. So we're going to work in the negative space instead of the positive space for a change. I want you to left mouse click on your blue border, and now I want you to right mouse click on it, and I want you to convert it to a complex fill. Notice when it converts to a complex fill, everything you can do to this just came up in front of me. So I'm going to select the standard, the arrow by standard, and we're going to do a motif fill. So I want you to left mouse click on motif. Now I want you to use your drop down arrow. Now there are lots of fills in here, and you could certainly pick almost any one of them. But we want to always be conscious of our stitch count. We don't want something that's so dense that this towel will be completely stiff. So I've come down and I've decided I want to pick 105 for the outline. I'm going to select that one, and I'm going to apply it. And now this will turn into that pattern fill, that motif fill. Now while it is selected, I want you to right mouse click on it. I want you to copy it. I want you to right mouse click on it again, and I want you to paste. We have pasted it on top of itself. Before you deselect it, I would like you to right mouse click, and I want you to convert to. We are going to convert the copied border. We've copied it right on top of itself, so I've got one border and an identical border sitting on top of it. I want to change the top one to a steel stitch so I can outline this border. So left mouse click on steel. This will take a few seconds to go ahead and compute, because what we're doing is we're taking a whole lot of stitches and we're now going to turn it into a nice satin stitch border around this fill. So we're going to give it a couple of seconds to think it over and calculate all those stitches. The next thing we'll do as soon as this does that is we're going to come up, and you notice I've got my nice beautiful satin stitch border on either side of that motif fill, but over here I need to change the width. While we work in inches when we think in terms of the size of the towel, the width of the towel, when we think of stitches we think of that in metric. So I'm going to come up to my toolbar. Remember, anywhere along the toolbar I will right mouse click and tell it, let me change to metric. Now that I'm changed to metric, I'm going to again left mouse click, or I can select my steel stitch. Let's go to our sequence view and look at it a little bit. If I select my steel stitch by left mouse clicking, it's automatically going to select that for me, so I don't have to try and go and actually click exactly on it. I want to change the width of that satin stitch to 2 millimeters instead of 3. So I'm going to apply that. That will take a couple of seconds. It will reduce the width of that satin stitch that's around the outside and inside of our first border. And once that finishes, then we're going to convert our inner square into our next fill. And for some reason, there we go, it's done. Now I want you to go ahead and left mouse click, come down here in the sequence view. I want you to select color number 3. You notice it selects it just because you clicked on it. Once I've done that, again I'm going to right mouse click. We are going to convert this artwork to a complex fill. Left mouse click on complex fill. It has converted. Again, I am going to change this by coming up to our properties, selecting motif, and I'm going to put the motif 109 in here. I'm going to left mouse click on motif 109. Now you can play around with these and see which different ones look like, but if you want to stitch this out and play with motifs, I suggest you do that not in class but at a different time so you can see the different densities and way these motifs stitch out. Let's go ahead and apply this. Again, we'll apply a nice little fill in there, and now we're going to do exactly the same thing we did a minute ago. We are going to, while it's selected, right mouse click. I want you to come down here and I want you to copy by left mouse clicking on the word copy. I want you to right mouse click again, and I want you to left mouse click on the word paste. Again, we have pasted one fill right on top of the other. So now we'll right mouse click and convert that to a steel stitch. So we're going to now outline the inner square and it's going to outline our monogrammed letter. Again, I want to change the width of that to 2 millimeters wide. So let's apply that. And as this applies, this is now 218 millimeters tall and 218 wide. That is about 6 inches, little over 6 inches. So now that we've got this all done, I am going to actually select everything on my screen, and I am going to select all. I can come up to Edit, Select All, and I am going to come down here on my color bar at the bottom, and I'm going to right mouse click on color number 1 because we're going to stitch this out all in the same color. We're going to come up to our toolbar, and I'm going to right mouse click on it, and I'm going to change it back to inches because I want to see how big this is. Well, when I stand this up on the diagonal, it is now almost 9 inches tall. Well, most of our hoops are not going to handle that, or certainly if you don't have one of the large hoops. So we're going to again select this whole design, select all, and I'm going to right mouse click on it, and we're going to go to transform. Remember how we changed it 45 degrees before? We're going to change it 45 degrees again, and we're going to turn this on its side. Now we are going to place this very carefully on our towel because we'll place it on our towel on its diagonal, but then we will hoop our towel on the diagonal so that we only need 6 inches high and wide in a hoop. It gives us a lot more autonomy if we have some of the smaller hoops. Now some of you are already thinking that have huge hoops, you could make this a lot larger on your towel, but remember 8 inches tall is a pretty big size for a monogram section. So this is pretty much as big as you'll want to go. Now that we're to this point, I want you to come up and I want you to go to File. We are not going to use Save to Sew today because this is a motif fill and we don't need it because we used a steel stitch around the edge and it has overlapped enough of that motif the way we did it that we don't need to worry about that. So we're going to File, come down to Save As, and I always save everything I do the first time in my native format, which is my Floriani format. So name this your mono towel or your negative space towel, and go ahead and save it in the folder where you want to keep it. Once you have saved it with the Floriani format, go ahead and drop down the box and save it again in the format for your machine, realizing of course that we have every format on the market for you, so it doesn't matter what machine you're running, you can save it in your format. We have now created our design for our towel in our software, and now we're going to go ahead and stitch it out. So thank you for coming for the project of the month. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Bye-bye.